Welcome one and all to Australia. We're racing down on for round number one. We're here with D2, second division in the DTR. We're also on board with the race. A few technical issues prevented us from getting going straight away, missing the start of qualifying. We're here 14 minutes from now. It's left us a full grid here for this evening. Ready for rounds 5 into the main straight. Driving set laps visible just starts there, so it's just about that second as well. We get a spinner, that's what we're seeing. To the main straight, think it goes to B2 at 19.2. I got the spinner back a little bit behind where his teammate was. Sleek Mercedes with that new sidepod concept this year. Landon was B2 in the Alpine as well. And there's a big spinner, and we've got two cars out of qualifying. That's a big crash. Quasar and Nathaniel both out. Well, as it's getting caught up, Nathaniel's into it. Unfortunately, you've got to pick your way through that battle. We've got another car out. That's 2K into the wall. And the McLaren as well. On its side, we're going to try and find the Haas just coming up. It's going to be Ira on the scene. We've got 4 cars out for this qualifying session. Look at that invisible spinning as well. Very, very difficult on this circuit. The Aston Martin's going to have to avoid the Mercedes. It does very nicely. 4 cars out, you'd have to expect them to be starting at the back of the grid. Riker going again. I think maybe no, he's not using his ERS, so again for him. We'll see how he's getting on the Aston Martin. We did see him on board with him now. He gets towards the 10-11 chicane. Of Lighting has gone into P2 as well whilst we've been watching the chaos. This car slow down now into the final couple of corners. Here we go. Into turn number 14. Just come off and think that's difficult just to wind the power up. Just turn get past the power. That's not using it to not just some kind of lights on. That's what's right now. It's on 18. So he goes into the turn. So this session D2 on the season. There we go, Foxman. Well, into the first sector. 7.4 for Starian. And of course, Bolton Circuit got a long run all the way up. And through to that infamous 10-11 chicane. They get a lot of victory, qualifying victory a lot earlier. So time 5 6 and the race tighten turn 12. Couple of corners left to negotiate for him. Goes 18. Just ahead of Invisible. I'm just safe to say that we're going to have a few guys in this session. All the fun guys are them. Everyone could probably hear them. It's probably quite annoying. I'm trying to fix that because that would be quite annoying for everybody else.
Hopefully I can mute myself by default. No, I haven't. Yeah, I really do apologise. I've got a little bit down and he's not pushing on this lap. Next and just set a time, he was P12.
He's going again actually.
We'll try and do it, so. There we go. Apologies
Abrasive on a push on the current pushing the whole city of Lancia on that to just a little bit off the road. He is up to time just 10% down, keep between the two. We didn't quite see the process of the first sector as we asked on purpose of finding middle time. No sector now that is really reduced in terms of this complexity. 1.1 just straight all the way into turn 10. That means a tenth and a half now, so not going too well for him. And the race is a tenth and a half up. Williams driver looking to try and duck into the 27s. How on earth are you not invalid? Do not. So gets the turn 12. Just dropping it into third, not into a second. Runs wide again and avoids a penalty, but I would imagine. Again, much time back to the line. And runs a third from the final corner. Of course, race ended up being race champions. Last season came second. Last season, if you look at all the time of the parks, that's 30 cents. Oh, so goes into just kind of race of duck into the pit lane, losing quite a bit of time at the end, and got another victim. Ferrari off winner was out just like the top 5. And saw this, that's a Ferrari off as well, and the Mercedes.
Invisible is active. Let's see here. Visible is out. Luckily, he's got a sort of competitive time, that time on the board. Here we go, no open session. They choose about it on 6 drivers out already. And not going to push that. You can see Garish Avilis finally out on the track. My team season in D2. Unfortunately, his teammate is out of qualifying.
Stabber's set lap time. Someone I'd like to have a look. He's got pace on this game, I feel, so I'd love to see how he gets on here.
Michael though pushing the Alpine with
one Alpines all the way up at the top, landing P2 at the moment. What can Michael do for us to turn forward? 13, runs a bit wide, he's losing a lot of time, and doesn't get invalidated though. So I'm a little bit surprised about it. He's going too deep off the corner, not the corner. One more corner to negotiate. He's wide open. Going towards line 18.2 will be really simple. The Alpine has fixed that at the final time in the Aston Martin. The Arizona currently on the line. Can he get it to 17? He's a little bit up on the second sector split, and he can. It's 17.9. He goes into the pole. That's the Aston Martin driver. Michael just started to get on that. Get on terms. So we're going to watch that. Switch. Now, there we go. Switch. It's clean. The soft there, just take the buttons and confidence. Maximum setup to just have this confident driving so that nothing too worried about maybe any issue you can see. Racing some race for that reason, make a mistake that lap. Stanley comes round. Eros wide open, sprinting towards the line. 21 minutes. 17.9. Just 6 thousandths of a second. Very clean that we saw that from start. I'm sure they'll never get to the team behind P2 at the moment. Well, this team in last year, I'm definitely racing more than a qualifier. So I see him go from P2. Definitely in with a shout of winning this first round of the season.
He's already set his time. He's moved together into P3. CPI boot in the Red Bull. Just a little bit deep. Compromises final corner.
Gets around that DRS open now. Up on supervision, pole at 7.7. That little bit of compromisation in the final couple of corners. He managed to go on the speed. As well, supervision involved. His lap, I would imagine. McLaren maybe spinning, just a little bit slow. There was a reversal brief doing so a few adventures it seems go in 20. But no idea how long left in the session will be there. It's a constant yellow flag. Abrasive and validated his current intent. Going again now in its turn at number 1. 3.5 minutes left in this session. That's just getting on fire a bit soon. Paying the price there. Yeah, a good moment. Nexton also on a push that one. Try to keep an eye on both of them. Taking just a little bit up the road in the Williams. Marching up at the moment, he'll be looking to try and jump Lidl. Of course, cannot improve. He's out of the court by 6 drivers. So unfortunately, see their sessions come to an early end. Picks the car in to turn 13. The shorty must help on the exit. The apex is all Jack Lane, so in the final corner he goes. Some power.
Wide open as he moves that way to 10. Up into 9 plus, Jack Visible. Getting up in 4 10 out there, having optimal to drop out and dive into the pit lane. I just got a warning.
Lighton is playing up a few places here and there. His lap power 2/10 up. Trying to sneak into 19, but he does do that. He moves up into P11 ahead of Maggot, who currently holds that position.
Hatch responding nice. I was about to say the Hatch responding nicely, but he has lost it on the exit. I think just deadening that tyre. Left rear, maybe on natural turf, lights up the rear. The McLaren has to avoid, which is Guna. Guna goes struggling, I think, for the power a little bit there as the car almost got away from him. At 1 minute 20, he's going to improve into 1 minute 19.4, whereas P15 with that lap. Like that next related. And it's a case of who is going to, well, Staff coming out. I don't think Staff and Lanton are not coming out. Is he going to have time? Is he going to get the pit lane? Yeah, he is. Staff is leaving it very late, but he's definitely going to have enough time. Is the Alfa Romeo driver. As soon as he gets into the pit lane, some adventurous lines there being taken. As he moves just behind him as well. Trying to get on his paddle at the front, but in the meantime, Michael's finding pace. He's a few miles away. Next to Tower, next to the tyre. On track. Got another McLaren Guna again. Not going his way, he's really strong. Circuit Michael though. Lost enough time in his game, but real commitment there through the chicane. That's a break into number 12. Really did carry him. He's a bit carried. Really carried with the speed. Across the lap. That's back to right on the side now. As gets the nose in the second gear. Takes it really well. It's really quick. It's not the wrong racing and goes something one up, puts himself up, beating the time. Just to the left of the road, P2, pushing. Now the guys at the top, Rocky will lead the way to 10. But Purple in the first making place good speed. Corner. Downforce to see many questions of maintenance now. I don't personally last night on 1816 and I was getting that 3 15 in the rear, just saying no, not at all, and he's out of qualifying for Superstar, no higher. That P5, the break just passed that into see how he can get on. A much bigger overtaking opportunity now is that turn 12. Comes the car in. Is he going to avoid any dramas? Yes, he is. The Mercedes will be next across the line of Maggot, so we'll see what time he can do. Presses and he moves himself up in a B5. Great time for Maggot to sneak into the 1 minute 17. Racing though. Crossing the line now. Abrasive goes on a original pole at 17.5. It's a brilliant time from him. Razzie ducks into the pit lane. He will be going no faster in this session. Right a little bit further. It's Abood who's going to be quick across the line. Abood's in the wall. We're on the final corner. This is going to block some people's laps. Michael Doss in the pit lane. We're going to have to see Stab on board with Stab. Keep having a little more time to take. That was a bang to the car, not in the way of what it would be. DRS, we have a bit of a time, a bit of a slipstream. Across the line, Stab is 17, but they go all that time. As well. Down the final corner for Fugis. So the 11 for him jumps up a lot of places. Can't hear me apparently. It's all going well. Let's try that. Oh, well, you really got me. Well, thanks for letting me know. But qualifying is over. It's 1 minute 17.5 for Abrasive. I've 2 clicks more, I think, when we get onto the formation lap. But it's Abrasive who takes pole here in the first round. TBI Boo is P2, then third Lancy, fourth Lewis, fifth Michael, Razzie is sixth, Maggot 7th, Foxby 8th, Lighton 9th, and actually rounds over the top 10 will go for the grid on the formation lap. In a moment's time. It's going to be an interesting race strategy. I think we're going to see maybe a few safety cars. We've already seen how difficult this Albert Park circuit is, even with them opening up some of the corners. But the rain is here. That's something I definitely did not expect, and maybe suggests why we saw Floxby earlier on running quite high downforce. Anticipation of this weather that has come in. I mean, looks like we got some pretty, maybe not full wet weather. Definitely something the drivers are going to have to bear in mind. It's going to be very difficult. Weirdly enough, both Mercedes are running the number 2. So it's a bit of a coincidence, I feel, but nevertheless, as we approach the countdown, the drivers are ready. They're all readied up. We'll get going for the formation lap. It looks like it's intermediate tyres. Yeah, I'm in spectate mode. That's lucky. As we head down towards turn number 1, it's Abrasive who leads the way from Seaguy Boo, from Lancy, from Shmulich, from Maggot, Fox Blue, from Lighter, from Dexter, from top 10. This was Bismal, Lighter, MJ, Myra, Doom, Wazza, Nathaniel, Gwyneth, and Blue rounds out your field. But it's going to be really difficult, I think, jumping straight into intermediate conditions, because it's not a condition you can actually practice in the likes of sort of time trial or anything like that. So something we're going to have to, drivers are going to have to learn as they go. I did that. But Abrasive leads the way from Abu from Lanty. Good to see 4 different teams in the top 4 as well, especially for this first round. But a lot of guys, I think, they've got a lot of some positions to work up through, and maybe a little bit out of position. Again, we don't know, it's round 1. Abrasive seems to be pushing the limits there on the exit of turn 11. Kind of trying to feel his way on these conditions, but then he needs to back the field up because he's always sat on the grid for a long time. It's kind of that balancing act between the two. as he gets around the final, around the one from the penultimate corner, really trying to get those rear tyres in the temperature window. We go on board with him. See his prep push up the park in the grid slots this year. A little bit of a different dynamic. How, you know, if you get it right or if you don't get it right, something we could see could play a factor this season. Was a little bit overconfident heading down towards their grid slot, and in these wet conditions, maybe a lock-up into your grid slot could prove quite costly. As he lines up on that provisional post, on that pole spot, he has got himself, got a few people disqualified quite late on, which is quite interesting enough. We're just waiting for the final few to slot into position. A lot of guys, I think, may be going a bit too deep, and that's why they've sort of technically been disqualified from the sort of session, but it would just be on the grid. Yeah, I'm in spectate mode. We're waiting for the lights now. We have 5 red lights here, and we're lights down away we go. The lane were not held for long at all. The camera angle is absolutely shocking because Abrasive gets a fantastic start ahead down towards turn number 1. Lantine is on himself on a P2, goes clean around the outside. That's Stravonis looking down the inside of Abu. Abu somehow holding the car there and trying to get involved is Michael as well, and he's got ahead, I think. We're wheel to wheel now. We've got a spinner at the back, and that could be Pyro in the hat. Almost 4 wide down towards turn number 1. Abu somehow keeping hold of P4. Down the inside, Razy looking to try and get him, because he's already lost 1. He does find that position, trying to go around the outside of the hash. Now that's Lighter, who's already found up 2 places, but it's Wazza who's up 8. How on earth has he managed that one? I don't know. But I kind of don't want to know. But anyway, Michael and Radley holding position. Abu has lost 2 places at the start, but it could have been a lot worse. Teams were really struggling early on in this race. Next as well, seems to have a moment, and Abu, he really is struggling in these conditions. Touching the grass on the inside now, wheel to wheel. That's Razy. He wants to get both positions in one if he can take it out of the race. Just moments before, maybe I've had a similar issue. I think we may have a safety car. If I do that and if I do that, still doesn't say it. I thought it might do. We've got something. I'm trying to work out what it is. It's either a safety car. We guess the virtual safety car because we can't see the safety car on the circuit. So the race is neutralised for the time being. With 10K losing the car, I think he may have just done the exact same thing that we saw Abu do. Maybe just touched the grass on the inside and just lit those rears up, and we've got no hope at that point. But the race is trying to keep the car on the circuit, even under these virtual safety car conditions. Because you just have the drivers have a moment to just make sure they keep the tyres in the temperature window. Maggot, what's happened to him? There's front wings everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. We've got a car out. What's happened here? It's virtual safety car conditions. Producers out. We just kind of saw the rear end of that. Somebody, I think, has maybe been told to let people go or not let people go. It's absolute chaos at the back in the top 10, and this is going to ruin their races completely. I mean, yeah, what I assume has happened here is maybe the game is telling people to. I think we're green in racing once again. Yeah, they've sort of told people to give the position back, and it's just chaos. It's what is happening, I do not know. Look at the gap between Foxglove and the rest of the field now. It's massive, and the penalties. 10 seconds of Foxglove, 5 for Waz, and it's no fault of their own, in my opinion. Nothing they could do. And now there's a massive gap between 8 and the top 7, who are comfortably clear up in front. Speaking of up in front, Stabling can move down the inside if he can get there. Yo's a bit of an up and under. Glad his inside curve quite big. We saw in qualifying he was able to do that. Can he get the traction on the exit? No, he can't. Ducks back into the racing line. Does the Alfa Romeo driver. And Abrasive managed to build himself a nice little lead after this VSC period. Maybe judging that restart to perfection, but looks to have pretty decent pace out front as well. 3 seconds clear up the road as we start lap number 3, fastest lap of the race. Staff closing up the challenge into turn number 1. He seems to have the straight line speed over the Alpine in front. Really carried good speed. He's going to get a warning for that, I'm sure. But is he running sort of what I like to do, running a bit of low downforce? Oh, I thought he was going to dart for the inside there. 2 drivers in the pit lane, I assume they're for front wing changes. As you saw, well, carbon fibre everywhere. You know, that brief shot of the start line as Abu gets the first 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Almost as strict as the game in real life. We get an onboard view though from Michael. It's the battle for P2. Massive snap. People like touching the grass on the inside there, don't they? But Lance's been under real pressure now. Stab taking leaf out of my book and just seems so quick on the straights. as he now looks to the outside. We could have an awesome wheel-to-wheel battle here. But Lanty just about keeps ahead. I think Stab maybe playing it safe. He's got into the back of Lanty though. I think he did just what Lanty's moment looked like. And Abood wants to get involved in this as well. Abood trying to go around the outside and got the pair of them. Stab trying to give the place back, I think. Trying to be fair there from Stab, and he has done. And oh, it's chaos. Car on the inside. How have we not got a spinner? I don't know. Razy trying to get involved. Stab's going to go down the inside of Michael though, and trying to regain the 4th place he started in, but he can't. And Abood, actually, after all of that, has gained the place back. And Stab has lost one. I lost 2 actually. Stab has lost 2 places. He was up 1, of course. Now he's down 1. And while all this is happening, there's still an 18-second gap to P8 all that way back. I'd like to get a 3-second time penalty as well. Riker putting immense pressure, and that's Maggot who's gone deep. Maggot's into the pit lane. That's why maybe a bit of front wing damage for him. He decided to call it a day. But defending quite aggressive there is Riker. Ducks back on the racing lines, and Nathan hasn't quite got the run to make the move down into turn number 1. Quite a nice helmet actually there from Riker. Fair play to him, but no. Nathaniel, who wants to be ahead of him in the slipstream, looks to the outside. Riker makes that big defensive move. And he go clean around the outside. I don't think he can. He's going to try the switch back, but didn't quite get the kind of cutback he was looking for. And we go further back up the road because once again this battle is hot between the top guys. Abood just ahead of this one. Lanty almost breaking a second clear. He goes a little bit deep. Will that compromise him? I think it might do. Michael's got the run. Michael looks to the outside. Stab wants to get involved too if he can. He's waiting patiently back at the moment. There's contact between the pair of them. This could be a great move from Stab. He's got up the inside of the pair of them, and actually, so has Leiter. Both of them gaining 2 places there from the contact between Abood and Razi. Razi trying to get past Abood. No way through for him there, but Stab, great awareness, it must be said, just to kind of get the car slowed down, cut it back. Great driving there from my old teammate, which is good to see. Abood, that's an interesting line to take. He's giving the place back, giving 2 places back potentially. Not really sure what that was, but fair play, I guess. Now the gaps are sort of spread out a little bit. The battle between Riker and Nathaniel still pretty close at the moment as they head down towards turn number 1 for the 5th time in this race. Is the rain getting any lighter? I'd say so. I'd definitely say it's getting lighter. We could be heading towards a kind of crossover period. We could see the slicks a little bit later on. The rain is not heavy at all, as the Aston Martin's gone clean around the outside of Riker. That's a fantastic move. That then switches to the inside. Great stuff from in there. Invisible and Foxley really setting the pace, but unfortunately they're currently down in P16 and P17. Nathaniel getting all wayward on the exit there. Actually, there's a great battle between Invisible and Foxley. Both just set the fastest laps of the race. Invisible moving himself up into P16 in that Mercedes of his. Foxley, great. Kind of not surprised he has good pace in these conditions. We saw, well, we kind of understood how quick he is running in these, how much air he's running in sort of compared to others, we feel, from what his straight line speeds look like in qualifying. But Invisible really has the pace at the moment. Fastest first sector just then. He wants away past next, and he wants to try and go up the inside into the chicane. Thinks better of it. He's gone purple anyway in the second sector. Can he now get the run out of turn 11? No DRS, of course, but he'll be using overtake mode, I'm sure, and can't get the run on the Williams. That's a slip behind him once more. Does the Mercedes driver. Back to the battle up at the front. Well, there isn't much of a battle up the front. Abrasive hold it. Fantastic start, and he's starting to run away with this one. 8 seconds up the road. He's got a bit of a buffer if we do have any big strategy decisions. And what has happened to the Ferrari is Quinner into the barrier, missing a front wing. You can see the front wing on the exit of turn 2. Unfortunate for him there. Obviously putting pressure on the Mercedes. Going to have a yellow flag out on track. It's the Aston Martin of Nathaniel. He looks so good in these conditions. Really on the edge. I'm not sure. That's definitely a warning for Guna. Does he have a bit of a front wing? He does. Maybe just a spin there. Maybe a bit of contact as well. But Stab almost looking for a way past Lanty, but no way through on lap number 6. You have to wait a couple more corners, you would expect. Great battle between from second all the way down to P6, and I think Quinn has had another spin. Yellow flags just in that second sector. You can see on the mini map on the bottom right hand side. Staff can't quite get the rain. Got a lot of the ERS just in these wet conditions, sort of into wet conditions. You can save quite a lot because you're a lot more easy on the traction. You're not tending to kind of jam it on as much as possible just because you're struggling in these conditions and stuff. Well, tried to get it on nice and early, but couldn't do it just then. It was changing position. Back as Invincible has got past Nexton, where he tried on the previous lap. And Staff still looking at the back of that Alpine. Of course, it was for about an hour was going to be Oscar Piastri Street next year. And what's happened to Quinn? Missing that front wing and just being sensible. In the end, he'll dart into the pit lane. I didn't think he would for a second, and he's got a penalty for coming in a little bit late. Stav now, has he got the run? Can he find a way past? He's going to look to try and go around the outside if he can. But again, the door's just shut on him as they get into turn number 10. If you change position further back as well, because Invisible and Pyro, Invisible found another place on Pyro. That's on the exit of turn 2, it looks like. That was at the front and closer towards the back. Of course, the chaos earlier on has kind of caused this big field spread. I'd say the pace is pretty even throughout. We've got sort of quick people all over the shop. It must be said, in these conditions, of course, completely changing the dry, depending on what setups people are running. It looked like it was going to get a little bit drier, but again, the rain was yet to stop. The lights are actually close to tightening out, maybe cooling out the tyres a little bit as Maggot picks up 3-second penalty. Fox Blue putting the pressure on next, and he's going to go for the inside, tucks back behind the rear wing of the Williams. Of course, the rain light normally on if your driver hasn't got enough energy, and now it's always on, so it's kind of use that as a guide. Looks to the inside, but the braking zone is not quite long enough for him to make a lunge into there. Yellow flag in sector 2, and that's Quinner out. He's kind of been coming in the sort of the nicest way possible, and we do have a safety car. The safety car has been called out. So will anyone make the call to go into pit lane? Invisible is the first one to come into the pits. What tyres is he going to go for? I'm assuming another set of intermediate tyres. The guys weren't ready for him down at Mercedes. Another set of inters for him. Of course, it could be inters for the whole race. I don't actually know. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Mercedes driver opting to take a fresh set. Of course, they didn't use any in qualifying, so they've got plenty at their disposal. We'll get the tyre situation up so we can see how old everyone's tyres are. You'd expect the likes of Maggot wouldn't pit, potentially. But what is Abrasive going to do? Abrasive is staying out. He's opting to keep going on these tyres, opting for the worn set over anything else. It's going to be interesting now to see what everybody decides to do a little bit further back. It seems to be new sets for pretty much everybody, even double stacking down at Alpine. Bood comes in as well. He'll be glad the gap has closed up a little bit for his little error earlier on. Wazza up P8. You've had a fantastic first lap. I'd love to see the onboard of that first lap, must be said. But it's interesting that everybody's coming to pit lane in the sort of front battle. So it's just keeping ahead of Lighter. We're lucky for the ghosting system in the pit lane that he was able to keep ahead. And Wazza looks like, I would say he just jumped to Blue, but just where they are in the pit lane more than anything else. Blue has stayed out though. Blue's gone the same way as Abrasive up the front. He's opted for track position, gaining a few places here, but he is going to be on the slightly warm intermediate. The rain does look so light though, doesn't it? It doesn't really look, it's not raining that much. So we could be sort of getting very close to a dry scenario here. But again, when you cut to that camera angle, or one previous to this one, it looked like it was raining a lot harder. So it's difficult to tell. But one thing that I think will be slightly good for us from a viewing perspective as well, Abrasive is now going to be under a bit of a challenge. Everyone behind him, well, the 5 drivers behind him, all on fresh intermediate tyres, 8 laps younger. But is he going for that kind of interslick kind of vibe if we get to sort of drying conditions? I'm not sure. I thought maybe the warm-up might be a little bit better, or a slightly worn set. I'm not sure. You would have thought the guys behind are going to have a little bit more grip, especially if the conditions do continue as they are. Bit of a snap there, and actually, Abrasive is coming into the pit lane. He's giving up the lead, he's giving up track position, he's going to lose loads of places. Lanty's left the session, and it's really not going well for anybody near the front at the moment. Abrasive deciding to come in for that set of intermediate tyres. He got the stop right? I'm really not sure. I think he did. Michael's left the session. It's all going well for everybody. Really not sure what's happening at the moment. But it's Lanty who leads, but apparently he's not actually here. That's going to be fun for the restart. You've got Stav then in P2. Leiter is third. He's just moving up into the podium places. And Abrasive has come back out onto the circuit in P7, so losing 6 places. Adam's comfortably leading this Grand Prix. I would have just hung it out, you know, personally honest. I think if I was, especially if I was in that sort of battle between 2nd and 6th, which is now 1st and 6th, I would have stayed out and gained a couple of places. I think the intermediate conditions are a really good race style. They do last really well, and I can't speak for the current games or any odd ones. You could do a race distance on them. I wanted to start B1 season. Oh, what is going on here? Change of positions, Boone ahead of Michael. And Abrasive was just... Oh, it's sort of what happened earlier. I think somebody, the game has told somebody they can go ahead, and now Michael won't go past Abrasive. Boone's got a penalty for ignoring it. It's just chaos again. Again, the problem is I don't think it's any of the driver's fault. They don't know what's happening, if anything. So far, the only penalty has been given to Boone. Yeah, look, it's just chaos here. I think Pryor has to give the place back to Abrasive. Now Maggot has to give the place back to somebody else. Oh, it's not great, is it? You'd think it'd be the simple things they'd get right, wouldn't it? Just the order the cars are in, and it's just causing chaos. I mean, Wazza is from trying not to get a penalty. We're still under safety car conditions here, and I don't know what's happening. I think we've just got to the point of let's just get on with it and take the penalties, which is unfortunate really, because, well, you know, you're forced to serve these in your pit stop. Wazza's have to give loads of places back, it seems. Pari gets the 5-second penalty of ignoring flags. Maybe they've just gone for it. I think Abrasive needed Pyro to overtake him. Really not sure. The guy should get back behind the crocodile, if you will. You know, this lap quite comfortably. It's just, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just nothing the drivers can do. It's not their fault. They're just trying to follow instructions from their engineers and the display on screen, and fortunately it's hampering some people's races massively. I mean, it will be interesting on the restart, of course. It's just kind of been created, but I'd like to see the difference between Pyro and Abrasive, and Wazza actually just behind them. Of course, that delta between sort of tyres that people started the race on and the fresh set, so it should be quite interesting to see. Safety car is in this lap. The field from 7th downwards should get to the back of the crocodile quite comfortably before we get going once again. Get the telemetry up so we can really understand when Lanty decides to go, of course. No fate, no what's the word I'm looking for? No stranger to being up near the front. He was very highly in D2 last season, finished 2nd overall in the standings. Fighting the likes of me, Brent, Peter Vole, who won D1 last night. He wasn't even very good drivers, I think, though. He hasn't gone yet. It looks like he maybe thought about it. He's going to go to the final corner. We saw a lot of guys in D1 last night go sort of midway down the straight, and he's put the power down now, and he's got a really good restart, has Lancy. Strav just keeping ahead there of Leiter. Leiter up in a third. I think actually Randy had to give the position back in the end. He headed in towards turn 1, no moves. Seems to be off the only one that looks to be making moves. And he's had a massive snap. How on earth has Abrasive saved that? I do not know, but it's going to put Nexon all over the back of him. They're wheel to wheel, the two Williams drivers, as they head down towards turn number 3. But it's Abrasive who has the grip on the inside from that fresh set. Keeps hold of the position of the back. Nathaniel putting pressure on Riker. No way through for him though, at the moment currently still in P13. A little bit tighter there than the Red Bull. Got a really good run, just carried much better speed, got the nose in much better. And he's going to have the run now, he's going to look to the inside, bit of overtake. It also is very brave when you put Eddie steering lock in the wet to have overtake on. Is very brave, it must be said. Right up behind the gearbox. Read that word Oracle pretty clearly, and through the chicane we go. No way through at the moment, but someone that is trying to make a move is a Boot. He's going to look to try and get past if he can. Abrasive has gone round the outside of Pyro pretty cleanly. That move was done and dusted before the corner. Wazza close to the back of Nexon. He's got Blue just behind him as well. Further at the back, Nathaniel still putting pressure on. He's going to get a really good run. Again, he just seems to have the car much more on the nose. Deep goes the Red Bull of Riker. Make contact with the car in front. It would have been a lovely switchback if he didn't. And Nathaniel just seems to have this kind of confidence in the wet to really have the car on edge. And of course, it sort of cost him earlier on. No way through. He's going to look for the move down the inside of turn one. And just again, seems to have a really nice setup. Has the car on the edge, but kind of on that perfect balance. Puts the car up in an overtake now. And unluckily for him, Riker's got a tow from Blue in front. Riker might be looking for a move, but down the inside if he can. Not on this occasion. Aston Martin just has to keep waiting. Looks way around the outside, but the door got shut on him there. But he just gets the switch back if he can. But the door shut on him once more. The two Mercedes of Maggot and Invisible just behind them as well. It's a cracking battle for P12. Of course, Blue just in front of this one as well. That was a move down the inside from Invisible that was never going to work out. It pushed his teammate a little bit wide. He's got the position. What's happening to Stav? What's happening to Stav? Where is Stav? Stav's on the left-hand side. Stav is out of the race. Maybe a bit of contact has pushed him wide. He's into the wall. Lanty pressuring. See about a Boot. I think the Boot's got ahead. Just the yellow flag at the moment for that incident. Michael has taken advantage of Lanty just running a little wider. Abrasive is going to go to the inside of the pair of them. He's kind of blocked off by the Alva Alpine. But Stav is out of the race. Absolutely, because we missed that completely. We're too busy watching the battle further back and down the inside from Maggot on Fox, who's pushed him wide. He's into the gravel with that one. There's a Mercedes into the wall. Not sure what's happened to Invisible here. Gets going once again. He's into the wall, losing it, coming back onto the circuit. I'm sure he will be into the pit lane, but not a good lap if you are Invisible or Stav. We're almost at half race distance, but after all of that, Leiter has taken the lead of this race. Invisible has retired. That looks like it's on the circuit. I won't read into that one too much, and we've brought out the virtual safety car. Luckily not full. The race really didn't need kind of resetting, all kind of bunched up as it is. The two drivers out in the space of one lap. Leiter leads from Maggie front of Food, Michael and Lan.
We'll swap places on that last lap. It was clever from Michael, just seemed to kind of see what was going in front of him. Brake sooner, get a tighter line, and the exit was much cleaner on the inside. Just kind of watch his rivals wash out as he took the position with better speed on the exit.
Pyro has held, Pyro and Nexon both held position really on those old inters. Abrasive making up a couple of positions. And we're racing once again. This is here much shorter. Lantis has dropped quite a bit back from his teammate. He's got the Williams of Abrasive all over the back of him. Alex Albon just signed a contract extension today. Both he and the team both agreed on, which is not what other teams can say, unfortunately. But around the final corner, he's got a good exit. Really getting that overtake on early. Fox and Maggot swap places just before the final corner. The Alpine will cover the inside. Gonna have a tighter line now. It's kind of been set up here very nicely by Abrasive. He knows what he's doing, but he's tucked right up behind that rear wing as we head down towards turn number 3. Looks like the Alpine just got a little bit less downforce on it. He's just carrying a bit more speed on the straight and just got confidence. And he maybe thought about a dive up the inside there into this sort of car park section of the lap, but no way through for Abrasive, and it's still 5th and 6th for them respectively. But Abrasive wants the position, he wants it now. Can he hang it round the outside? He's going to try it. It'll be an audacious move. We'll get a warning for track limits. The Alpine is lacking a front wing, and that's what happens when you use overtake mode. And out of the race is Lanty. I mean, we've just seen another example of maybe what happens to Stav using overtake when we have a safety car, using overtake when you just put any steering of it in. in these interconditions, it's just asking for trouble. Putting so much torque through the rear wheels, you're just going to spin up the car. We're yet to see this drive period. The safety car is out. I've got a feeling we need to see it really from the onboard of Lancey. We've got 6 drivers already in this race. It's fair to say. Some people, there's a late call there from Michael. Maybe they would come in. Most people opting to stay out. Iran next, and he's coming to the pit lane. I think that's probably the right call
in the end for him. Nathaniel in the pits too. I'd love to see him on a new set. Really, really racy. Push that maggot in as well, and so he's doing that. So we're 16 out of 29 laps in this race.
Well, it's a really good restart for him after that VSC, and it's just what is Gunnar doing? Gunnar's put on the mediums. Does he know something we don't? Gone for a set of medium tyres. It really doesn't look like... Is the rain stopping? The sky's definitely got brighter. I wouldn't say the rain has reduced at all, in all honesty. I think he's going to really struggle on the brakes here. He's just got no front end. He's got nothing really. I think this may have been a mistake, more than anything, unfortunately, for Gunnar. Whether we can get back around and put the engines back on it, I couldn't see this drying for, 5-6 laps probably. I don't know what Mark, is it Mark's what the engineer's now called? Mark has been telling him definitely was not the right strategy call to make. He can barely take these corners flat out. I'm surprised he is. He's going to be getting no temperature into these. I mean, he has to take that chicane in 3rd gear and he's losing the rear. Safety car carrying on for another lap. I'm quite enjoying watching Gunnar, to be honest. Providing a bit of safety car entertainment, and that's the grapple trap. For Gunnar, I think he's got to be in the pit lane. This lap, if he can get back to the pits, that is. Nathaniel into the pit lane again. Is it front wing for him? It's not. Another set of inters for him. So, interesting. I think it's fair to say, yeah, Gunnar coming to pit lane, deciding this is not the right strategy. And it's probably a wise move, must be said. He's going to put Bolt back on. They ran out very late, must be said. Needs to change the old front wing as well. Oh, lights are just a 3-second time penalty. There he is. Boo's got 5 and then a 3 as well. He has. Yeah, Boo got 2 5-second penalties for that kind of a first round of safety car overtaking chaos, and he's now served 1. So hopefully he can get them removed. In my opinion, I don't think anybody's got a penalty for speeding the pit, and everyone who's currently got a 5-second penalty should be able to get it removed. Of course, the 3-second ones will count for track limits. As he needs to get a move on, he might be on the safety car for another lap, which will help him try and get to the back of the field. 33 seconds is what he's got to make up. Well, he's not really making it up. But doesn't look like we're going to get going, so he is going to get to the back of the field. How's he not catching them up? Oh, there we go. Starting to make inroads on that delta. What's lap under inter conditions with Gunnar? He got a brief moment. A little bit of curve. He's still got the confidence to kind of take the curbs here. Even though it's these slippery conditions, the rain is just kind of, weather's just kind of threatening that we can get a dry period, but we haven't quite got there yet. Look at rotation through turn 12 into 13. Fifth gear just to dull the power and then just get back nice and slowly. Don't even think about fifth gear, just kind of flirts with it. Second gear, the car just kind of swing around nicely. Begin to be careful when you put the power down, but you don't just light up the rears and carry on spinning. using overtake mode, kind of interesting. Yeah, down towards turn 1. Braking probably about 25 metres earlier than you would want to in the dry conditions. Just less grip on the circuit. And now gets to the back of the field. When we get going, which I think will be the end of this lap, we should have sort of 10 laps left of racing. Now I imagine... Oh, Maggot's left the session. I imagine it should be pretty straightforward for everybody, apart from Pyro. Everyone should make the end of the race on these tyres. Pyro could struggle. I'm not actually racing into the conditions, so I can't quite say how well he enters last. Safety car is in this lap. Nothing too much to worry about so far. It's bunching up at the moment. Hopefully we're not going to get another one of these kind of silly periods. There's another guy at the back. There's Leiter who leads the way. He's back in the back right up. We go on board, we can look back. We see an Aston Martin, we see a Red Bull, we see these two Alpines as well. Let's go, just get into the ultimate corner now. And we see, you know what, I did it in Paul Ricard pre-season last week. If you go really early, I think you can catch people out with. You can not on the main straight, and you know, I'd almost go out of that previous corner personally, just to catch people off guard and build a nice gap. When is he going to decide to go short to the third? Is this it? And this is it. We're racing once more here in Albert Park, and actually Razzing's reacted pretty well. Further back though, it's Abrasive who's on the charge. And that is either warming up our tyres or a bold defensive move. I think it's warming up the tyres, Blue, close to the back of Wazza, and that is, if that's not a corner cut, I don't know what is. And Abood has had a massive moment. He's going to lose 2 places on the run down to turn 3. Can Abrasive... Oh, he's gone down the inside. He's trying to get one of them back, but Abrasive just holding on to position. He's only just gained. It's Foxburgh and Riker duel it out, and Riker's dropping now down. He might lose place to Nexon as well. Nexon goes round the outside. That then switches the inside. They're still wheel to wheel. Going to push him off, and somehow Riker doesn't lose the car and doesn't lose any more places. I don't know. It's Nexon 10th, Riker 11, Maggot in 12, and that car seems to be all over the place, like the Mercedes we saw in Australia, bouncing around there. But at the front, Leiter leads the way, comfortably out in front of them, 7/10. He needs to make that 3 seconds before the end of the race. Assuming we don't get any more safety car periods or anything like that. Abrasive putting pressure on Michael. This could be a great little battle between. Well, if you look on the left-hand side, almost 3 cars that look exactly the same, but they're not. Maggot has lost a place to Nathaniel, someone we said who could be pretty racy on this restart, and already making up a place on the Mercedes. Second gap starting to form out front, unless you're the likes of Abrasive and Abood. Don't really know what that means. It's Abood. It's Abood got a good exit. No, he initially did, and having a bit of wheel spin. Hasn't put the car into overtake mode. Nathaniel's got 1 place. He's now got 2. Drag racer Riker isn't going to win that one. He's gone for it down the inside. It's someone who likes a bold move, and well, Riker has seen the grass not once but twice in the space of a lap here, and he might lose a place to Maggot as well. Maggot looking to go around the outside. Riker's seen all sorts of the circuit so far. I think a little bit unfairly, but it's for me to comment. I think that's fair to say. Guna putting pressure. So he's seen the conditions in there. Oh, Maggot's not here, is he? He is now. Gooning put a pressure on him. Michael slowly. Gaps are starting to spread out a little bit now, but unless you're Fox Blue, he's putting immense pressure on Blue in the Alfa Romeo, trying to go around the outside as he changes camera angles. Will he make it stick? He goes leaning around the outside of the Ferrari. That's a bold move, a very good move as well. Full respect though, must be said to Blue, just making a 3-second time penalty. A little bit aggressive on the exit. And so we've got to give credit to the Alfa Romeo for giving the space and allowing that move to kind of take place, and trust the job as well. Pyro's doing a good job at the moment to hold off Wazza despite having 7 laps. All the tyres a little bit tight there from Abrasive, and the car is all over the place on the exit as Leiter sets another fastest lap of the race. Looking pretty good out front with 8 to go. Down towards turn number 3 we go, and he moves in the offings. I think it might be Nathaniel on next turn. He's very close, he's looking for the inside, he wants the inside. Little bit of contact, has a moment. I think the door was going to be shocking no matter what he did. I think that one's fair play. You stick your nose in like that. Nathaniel's car is all over the place, so I'm absolutely loving it. He's trying to go around the outside. This could be a fantastic move if he can pull this off. Just has to duck back into the slipstream. It makes me worry now when I see someone in overtake around these corners, but he somehow held the car together. He's essentially a man who likes the car. A little bit all over the place in the number 7. Formerly Kimi Raikkonen's race number. Has he got a good run though? I think he has. Looking to the outside now. Can he go clean around the outside? I think he's going to try it, but the door is just shut on him and he sees the gravel. Somehow keeps it out of any sort of walls or spins.
Further forward, Michael's under pressure from Abrasive, Fox Blue on Wazza. Fox Blue clean around the outside. That's not the first move he's gone clean around the outside of in the last couple of moments. He's lost a bit of touch to Lighter out front, who's almost got that 3-second gap he needs. But Michael putting pressure on Renault. We've now got a 4-way duel for the 2 podium spots. And well, you've got to say, Michael and Ray, the other ones in pole position with no penalties to their name, because Abrasive and Food do have penalties will be added to the end of their races. Abu looking pretty cool at the moment. Oh, and that was on the grass there for Abrasive as Nabu to close in. Look at the run he's getting, look how much momentum Abrasive has lost there. Both getting good runs through the chicane though, but Abu had a little bit more confidence, a little more rotation, a bit more understeer in the car for Abrasive. That forced him to run wide. Abu's going to go down the inside. Can Abrasive hold this one around outside? He's going to try to, and there's contact between the pair of them. But both of them are facing the right way, luckily enough. Ira just sitting quite comfortably. He's got the sort of the man on the charge at the moment. Fox Blue behind him. A little bit deep there for Pyro. And he's doing quite a bit at the moment. Fox Blue could be hampered. If everyone else is running dry style, Fox Blue's going to be hampered just by the fact I'm pretty sure he's running a wet style setup just from straight line speeds I saw in quali. Both Ferrari, I would say both Ferrari power, but the Ferrari's in the Ferrari power car as well. Fox Blue and Blue, all the Blues are on the attack. Wasn't on the defensive at the moment. Increasing time penalty for Maggot coming down to 13. Nathaniel putting pressure on. Oh, he's not going to do it again, is he? He's going to try it. Don't you dare put it into overtake. Oh, he's done it. Trying to go around the outside, tucks back in for a bit of slipstream. Again, another driver, maybe just lacking a bit of front end. Sorry, not front end speed, that's not a thing. Fox Blue though, powers past, moves himself up a couple places. Racing not quite close enough to move. Drop back a little bit from that contact earlier on. Nathaniel's still just behind, but he's got a poor exit, and that allows Riker to get past. That allows Maggot to get past. And now Nathaniel losing 2 places. Maggot looking for a way down the inside, but nothing to do. At the moment, Abrasive running pressure on this battle. I think the second is probably going to be the one we're going to follow the most till the checkered flag. Not a lot of ERS though. More Abrasive. Michael has a bit to play with. Reza doesn't have a lot either. Heading to turn at number 1. Field is pretty close. Just like hasn't sort of galloped away like I thought he could. You know, the gap was 2.4 seconds at one point, and if Razy just has a bit of clear air, he doesn't have to look behind him. I mean, that's going to be a warning, I'm pretty sure as well. Curves become so slippery. You don't really want to touch them at this phase, and I mean that was the proof in the pudding because Abrasive all over the place.
on the exit there of the new sort of reprofiled start of the second sector, straight to the second sector, really, isn't it? As he gets on the brakes, Maggot's found a way past Riker, and I thought there was going to be a way through there. He's kind of compromised himself just by going that little bit deep. What can Waza do? Because he's under pressure at the moment from Blue. Blue isn't going to be able to overtake. No, he is. And he have to run. He's going to look to the inside. He's going to go for the inside. Just sort of tucks back behind, and there's contact, and he's pushed him round. And the big winner from this is Nexon, who's gained 2 places, but Wazza facing the wrong way. And the McLarens, unfortunately, are 13 and 14. And it's fair to say, through no fault of their own, Wazza missing his front wing. Light for the lead up front, max 2.5 seconds. The Braces picks up another time penalty for track limits. I feel he could be losing quite a few places at the moment. He's definitely losing a place to Abood now. Maybe not quite Fox, but Nathaniel gets a penalty. The penalty is starting to creep in now at this late stage of the Grand Prix. And I think we've got to come in together. I think that's Riker and Nathaniel. Riker's facing the wrong way. We didn't quite see what happened there, so I dare to speculate, but neither of them have got front wing. Gilla Flag still in Sector 1 as we've got Blue in the wall as well. What kind of damage does the Aston Martin have? Missing a bit of end plate damage there on his front right. Back up at the front, the gap is almost 3 seconds. This could be your race lead. Gap 2/10 between the top two in effective terms. It could become even less if they start to battle further back, as Michael looking down the inside. Of course, he wants to, keep within this delta because it's just flicked above 3 seconds for a brief moment there. We're really on the cusp here with 4 laps to go once we cross the line. It's so close between the top two once penalties are applied. Michael as well wants to get involved. He's not got penalties at the moment. Michael would miss out. He wouldn't miss out. He'd still be on the podium. He'd be third. The win is just there for him. He's effectively looking at the race win. If he can get ahead of Mazzy, he could win this Grand Prix. Abood currently sort of just chilling in P5, happy as Larry. Fox Blue seems to be the man on the charge. Gaps have started to get a little bit bigger for him. Paro just vibing it out in 7th. We've got next in 8th. Mag and 9th, and a few guys into the pit lane. Of course, we saw our front wings scattering the circuit for a moment there. As Wazza runs the final. I'm not sure where Wazza's been, in all honesty. I know he had a spin. He did come into the pit lane, didn't he? It's hard to keep track. Goodness had maybe a bit of contact. He's into the pit lane as well. But one of McLaren's is in the points. No, I got it wrong. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'm doing his P10 though, so that's good. But look up at the front, down the inside from Michael, and Ray's defence of P2 has come to an end. I think that may have been. That may have just been a much better exit, getting the run he finally needed. And he's moved himself up in a P2, but what that has done is given Leiter the lead out front by quite some margin. It's now 4 seconds. Michael needs to try and reel that in by about a second. And now to gain the race lead, it is only 3 seconds, isn't it? Yes, it is. Races, no. Which is going to need a miracle to try and finish on the podium with 6 seconds off penalties. Will he look for a move down the inside? He thought about it. But no way through on this occasion. As we pause. 3 laps to go now, including the one we are on. This is where the battle seems to be at the moment. No other gaps less than a second, unless you're Nathaniel as well now, because he is... Oh, what's happened there? I saw a brief flash. Oh no, Lighter's out! Lighter is out of the Grand Prix! The man who was set to win this race has kind of done, I think, what we've seen so many do here this season. On board with his teammate now. He may have just lit the car up in overtake mode and he's lost the rear. He had a second buffer out front. He was happy as Larry for the lead, and now the fight reignites between Michael and Radzi because they are looking at the race lead between each other now. Ah, just as I thought, there wasn't another twist in the tail. We've had one. Out of the race, he will finish no better than P14. He won't even finish, unfortunately. He definitely has deserved this win. Got to the front and just looked really comfortable out front. Razzie, unfortunately there for him, it's a really poor penultimate corner. It's the other Aston Martin challenging Wazza. This one could get a little bit messy. Again, we see a bit of overtake mode on some corners. Oh, there's contact and one Aston Martin's on the charge. Unfortunately, one is spinning round and Razzie will have no chance maybe of getting on the podium unless he can get going once again. He really can't, because in these interconditions with these heavy cars, it's so difficult to do. And a man you said was sort of set for the podium. Pyro now moves up in a P5. And Fox Blue's chance, well of a podium, is now looking very, very good. Abrasive and Aboud, both with penalties. Michael looks like he's now going to be your race winner here this evening. I said it, we were waiting for it. We had a twist in the tail and then we had another. And Wazza's out of the race. On the final corner, he's dropped it into the wall. The race leaders are on their penultimate lap. Michael seems pretty happy out front. Abrasive got pressure from Aboud behind. Has it got wing damage? Not that I can visibly see. It seems to be struggling a little bit, and the race has come alive in these last couple of laps. He's next in putting pressure. Of course, Razzie, older tyres compared to Maggot. He's fighting a completely different battle now, and the Mercedes looking to go down the inside. He might have wing damage as well from a bit of contact with the wall. Not like I can visibly see, but Mercedes is down the inside, and Nathaniel's out of the race as well. What is happening in these final couple of laps? Nathaniel into the wall there, just dropping it on the exit of turn 5. I thought we were going to have 14 finishes, but now we're only going to have, well, at least 11. But with a lap to go, Michael is on the final lap of the Grand Prix. No penalties for him. He needs to take this one comfortably. Now, he knows he can take it comfortably. Just use overtake in a straight line. Please just use overtake in a straight line. Abrasive, well, how are the penalties going to shake this one? I think Abrasive might drop off the podium, will he? No, he won't, because Aboud's got 11 seconds. Aboud's trying to hold on to I need to do the maths. P4. Because Pyro's got 5 seconds of penalties as well, but he's 9 seconds further back. So I think your finishing order, as things stand, will be Michael, then Fox Blue, then Abrasive, but Aboud's got 3 more seconds. That could be crucial in the race for P4, but he wants to finish second on track. I think that's going to be the aim here for him. He's going to put the pressure on where he can in that Red Bull. Fox Blue, I think, probably has worked it out as well. He will know that he is safe to finish second. We get the flag because that is Aboud. No, Aboud has dropped it. We were just saying his chances of trying to finish on the podium. He's lost it in the chicane. They're fighting on further back as well, and we're going to have 11 finishers in this. No, we're going to have 10 finishers in this Grand Prix. Everyone's going to get a point in this one. Michael, though, has somehow avoided all the chaos. Unlike others, he's not kind of been in that unlucky position it seems to being in the lead, and he's held on to win the first race. Don't do that, because I did that last season. You end up in the wall. But Michael wins the first race of the season in the Alpine. It's Abrasive who crossed the line second on the track, but it's Fox Blue who actually takes P2. Maggot, he was near the back for not a large percentage of this race, and we know he's a super quick driver, but he's going to come across the line in P4. I think Razzie will actually take, if he can just keep ahead of next turn, he can. It was super close. Razzie does take P4 after having a bit of an incident on the penultimate lap. He ends up getting 4th, so good point for him. Next in is 5th. Good drive for the Williams driver. Maggot 6th in the end after penalties. Pyro 7th, making it into the last a hell of a long time. Going to just pick up points in P8. Blue has 2 more corners to negotiate. Might actually lose out to Reich here. It's going to be a good little battle between these two. As Reich rounds the final corner onto the pit straight. And he's just going to hold on. Sorry, Blue rounds the final corner onto the pit straight. He's just going to hold on to P9 Riker, your final car, to cross the line. And he will end up P10, just 4 tenths behind, in the end. But chaos is the word I will use to describe that. Car just flying absolutely everywhere in the end. Do I know what's happened? No. Do you know what's happened? No. But Michael has won. I think what we've learnt here today, if anything, is how difficult these cars are to drive in intermediate conditions. And I think we've all learnt that the overtake button is not one you use when operating the sort of steering wheel side to side, if that makes any sense. With full credit to Michael, read the conditions well today, avoided trouble and had some good moves in the process as well. And it's Fox Blue, a bit of a recovery drive for him, it must be said. Really worked for the field on that second interstint and has taken advantage of other people's unfortunate misfortunes. and has finished P2. So we'll be very, very happy with that. And then the final spot on the podium is Abrasive. Another driver, he was on pole. He was leading comfortably and should have pitted earlier on. I think the race might have ended up differently for him, but a good drive to get third in the end. Again, another driver taking advantage of people's misfortune. But it's racing next to him. Magat, Pyro, Gunnar, Blue, and Riker round out your point scorers and also your finishers. Because unfortunately, with a lap to go, we lost the Bood. We lost Nathaniel with 2 laps to go. Wazza and Leiter with 3 laps to go. And it was just chaos. The stream will be left up on this channel, one of my channels, but I will be posting it onto the DTR LC Racing sort of main channel probably tomorrow morning. So that'll be another place to see it as well. Yeah, apologies for the delays. YouTube definitely playing up a little bit at the moment, which is far from ideal, but we got the stream, we saw the race in the end, and what a race it was. Hope you've all enjoyed, and we'll see everybody for Spain next week, and also D3 and D6 tomorrow night.